Welcome to Techstination. Joining us is Ryan Hurd, the president and founder of Caregiver Smart Solutions. Thank you for joining us, Ryan.
Hey, thank you very much, Fred. I appreciate having us on.
You're in the aging in place space and using technology to help to enable that. Give us a bit of an overview about the company.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Let me start back a little bit. As you said, my name is Ryan Hurd. I am the founder of Caregiver Smart Solutions, and I've been in the smart tech industry for 29 years. I'm actually known as Ryan Hurd, the smart guy. I literally wrote the book on it called Join the Smart Home Revolution. And everything is well and fine, and I'm a techie by heart. I love this stuff. And unfortunately, about 2 years ago, my father had cancer. And, well, me being the smart guy, figured I would just find something and put it in and know that my father's okay. And that's what kind of led me down this road of the technology in this industry is really non-existent compared to what I was doing, on the other side. So I figured there's got to be a better way of knowing just the basics. How's my dad doing? Is he moving around? Is he taking his medicines? Is he drinking enough water, being hydrated, and all those things? So that's where Caregiver Smart Solutions started. And now, we're up to our third generation product that we're releasing at CES, and really excited to change the world.
Well, describe this product line for us. What do you have out there?
So the basics of Caregiver Smart Solutions, it kind of comes down to a belief system first. And what I mean by that is anything that's in the industry today, it's kind of interesting because when you look at the assisted living facilities, they still believe that the pull string is the latest of technology, which is a shame, right? And then anything else in the industry, whether it's a button or wearable or even voice control, the problem is it's all reactive. And that's well and fine, but I'd like to have something before I get there. So how can we be proactive for our loved ones? And understanding that our loved ones, listen, they don't like Big Brother. They don't want anybody spying on them. They don't want you to put a camera in their house and whatnot. So what we do is we've developed a system that is tiny sensors that are non-intrusive, that go throughout the house, your loved one's environment, and they track their habits because based on our habits, we can tell the quality of life, whether it's sleep quality or whether it's how many times you're getting up in the middle of the night or all these other things. And based on those, we can answer the questions of, hey, Dad, how are you doing? Because, listen, you and I both know that you call your loved one right now and you're like, Mom, so how you doing? They're always going to tell you that they're okay. And it comes down to psychology. It's their belief systems. It's the greatest generation that has believed that they're going to grow up, get married, they're going to get a house, they're going to raise some children in that house, and they're never, ever, ever going to be a burden on anybody else. And yet, on the other hand of that phone, they could be living in squalor, but they're always going to be telling you that they're fine. Wouldn't it be nice to know if there's an issue early on, and this way we can give them, a better chance of quality of life?
Describe for us what the sensors look like and how this all comes together.
Sure. So we have three different kits. We've got the basics, we've got the deluxe, and then we've got the deluxe plus. And it just comes down to the fundamental question is how your loved one is doing. So let's take a couple scenarios. Let's say, male, 75 years old, living on his own. And for the most part, he's fine. But, we just had Thanksgiving a couple of weeks ago, and maybe you saw dad or mom, and they're just, they're getting a little slower. It's the first time that you notice that there's an issue. So we have the basics kit. And the basic kit is monitoring a couple of things. We've got a couple little sensors. They're about 1 inch round, and they're placed in 3 different rooms. And then we've got some other sensors that are checking out the refrigerator and the medicine cabinet and things like that. And they're just to give you the basics, through the app, just to be able to see that your loved one's moving around and that they're opening up the fridge and that they're taking their medicine and all that kind of stuff. And then from there, as your loved one progresses, so maybe it's grandma, maybe she's 93 years old, and you want to know a little bit more. For the most part, she's still fine, or maybe she has a little bit of dementia. Now you want to monitor more things like sleep quality, hygiene. Are they taking showers? Are they walking out the front door? And that's where our Deluxe Plus kit comes from. So again, it's sensors that are about an inch round, and they're about the size of a quarter, and it's literally peel and stick. Boom, you put them in the room. You can hardly see them. And through this, again, through that app, you'll be able to know things like, their sleep quality. So let's say grandma's habit is she gets up twice a night, every night, and that's fine. She goes to the bathroom, does her thing, she goes back to bed. And that's normal. So that's like a green check mark. But if she starts getting up 5 times a night, 3 nights in a row, that could be an issue. It could be urinary tract infection. Or other scenarios. Well, let's say your loved one gets up at 2 a.m. in the morning, and they go to the bathroom, and then they go downstairs, and they open up the fridge, and then they turn on the boob tube. Okay, that's a one-off. That might be fine. But if they start doing that consistently, that could be an indicator of non-24, where your circadian rhythms are flipped. And these are all things, these are all nuances based on habits that, generally if you ask mom or dad or grandma or whoever that is, how are you doing? They're always going to say they're fine. But these are little things that you can actually help them with. Maybe, if it's going to the bathroom too much, maybe it's time to go down to CVS and, do a quick chat with the nurses, or worse off, maybe it's an event and go into the hospital. So, we're all about how do we get ahead of things? How can we be proactive? How can I give my loved ones a better quality of life by just answering the fundamental questions?
And the sensors are battery operated?
Yep, everything is wireless except for the hub. So there's like a brain that actually gets plugged into the wall. But everything else comes pre-configured. It's wireless, peel and stick, and you're good to go. And they are battery operated. And the batteries last about 6 to 12 months, and they're typical like watch battery type of thing.
And is it a subscription service? Tell us how this works.
Yes. So first off, it's the kit, and kits start at $99. And then the subscription starts at $29. And the kit is $99 and the subscription is $29 a month. And for that, you get access to all the data, you get access to the app, and you get access to all the insights. And then from there, let's say you got in with the basic kit, as I said before, you can build up over time. Because unfortunately, as we get older, we're not getting better. I wish we were. But this way, based on your loved one, you can add all the other parts relative to where they are in life.
With the emergency notifications, you're handling some of that too. So tell us how that works.
Yeah, so it's interesting because at the end of the day, everybody, regardless of your race, religion, creed, where you live, the reality is everybody has somebody that they love and care about, and you want to make sure that they're okay. And everybody hears about the proverbial fall. And nobody wants their loved one to fall in their environment and then nobody find out about that. And one of the problems with existing technology is that, A, it's expensive, and B, most of them require some kind of input from your loved one. They've got to push a button, they've got to speak, they got to whatever. And that's fine. But unfortunately, the reality is out of the 4 reasons somebody ends up on the floor, 3 of those reasons, they're generally passed out. And what I mean by that is you've got the typical dehydration. So somebody gets up, they're dehydrated, and boom. And this goes back to why we want to know if they're opening up the fridge, if they're drinking fluids and stuff, because as you get older, you're really not paying attention to hydration. It's just one of those things that we're not paying attention, and all of a sudden now you're dehydrated. Number 2 is low blood sugar. That's the same scenario where somebody gets up out of the chair and they pass out. Low blood pressure is the same. And then the 4th one is the typical trip and fall. They've tripped over the chair, they fell, and those they're usually up for. But the other ones, unfortunately, we need some way of sensing that. So with our Deluxe Plus system, not only are we checking everything else, movement and doors and whatnot, but we're also doing sleep quality, as I said before, and we're also doing fall detection. So this is where if they're not moving and we know what their habits are and things are going on, we can actually send that push notification to yourself. And the beauty of the app is you can pick if you've got 3 siblings, all 3 of you can have the app. It's totally up to you.
Very interesting. So everybody in the family can be monitoring and receive notifications and such. Without the person, the elderly person, being worried about being watched all of the time with cameras and such. So
Right.
there's an easier feeling about this, I suppose.
Well, and they get to regain their independence because it's very interesting what we've learned from both of these sides, right? So you have the caregiver, you have myself. I'm 48 years old, I'm married, I've got 3 beautiful kids, they're all young, and I'm concerned about my parents. And I just want to know that they're okay. And to me, that means they're up, they're moving around, they're doing their daily activities, and that's fine. It's a big green check mark. But if there's an issue, I want to know. Now, one of the benefits of having the ability to have your siblings on it is you can choose what kind of notifications. So maybe you are really concerned and you want to know everything about your loved one. You can have it. Every time she goes, opens up that refrigerator, you can get that notification. Or maybe it's your sister who's just like, I just want to know if there's a problem. And she can elect to just get those notifications. And then on your loved one's side, they can live well in their own home. They can live longer there. And they know that somebody's got their back. Because the one thing that we've found out is our elderly loved ones are scared about something happening in the house if they fall and nobody knows about it. You know, we've all heard about the stories of the loved one fell in the shower and she was there for 2 days. And most products you can't take in the shower. We've heard about the other people that have been sitting at their breakfast bar and passed out, and they weren't found for a couple of days later. I mean, that, with the technology we have nowadays, that should never, ever happen. So for our aging loved ones, we've got your back. You know, we can still allow you to live your life to its fullest. We're non-obtrusive, so nobody is watching on a camera. You know, that's adding more stress to the caregiver, and it's, you know, Big Ben for you. We don't want that. But you can live knowing that, hey, listen, your kids do love you, and they're there for you. And everybody can still have their own safety and security.
For more information, where can people go?
Well, I'm glad you asked. You can give us a call at 888-585-5022, or take a look online on the World Wide Web at caregiversmartsolutions.com.
Again, it's caregiversmartsolutions.com. Ryan Hurd, thank you for taking the time with us.
Hey, Fred, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Now this. How many companies out there have continued to innovate when it comes to building a better radio? I'm Fred Fishkin, host of Techstination, and I'm here to tell you about the new CC Skywave SSB radio from the wonderful people at C. Crane. Bob and his crew really love radio, and it shows in this new compact model that is packed with features. Beyond great AM and FM reception and sound, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world, listen to ham radio operators, aviation, and more. It's the radio you'll turn to every day, and in emergencies. It will run for nearly 3 days on just 2 AA batteries. Pair the sleep timer with the new Soft Speaker 3, and you've got the perfect radio for your nightstand. Of course, it can wake you up too. Click on C. Crane at Techstination.com and put in the code Techstination for a free flashlight with your order. They love radio, and you'll love C. Crane.